Hello and welcome to a very distracted episode of No Load Time. My name is Obed Villas, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Joel Young.
What's good? No load time. Obed, good to be with you. You are right. It is distracting because we are multitasking as we're coming to you live
Yeah,
at the same time as the Game
yeah,
Awards.
Game Awards are going on, so I have it here on TV. So I'll be looking over here from time to time, although, like, one of the big ones happened. Death Stranding 2 is happening. I'm excited, very excited. The game was actually uh, quite the experience. I actually highly recommend everyone to play it. Um, but yeah, we're here, back again, back at it. We got some, I guess, kind of fresh news to discuss, and very fresh stuff happening right now at the Game Awards. But Joel,
Yeah.
how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. We are in full swing here for the holidays. Lots going on. Schedule's getting tight, so it's nice to have a good moment here just to jump on and talk about stuff. Nothing too crazy to update on my end. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to hold this up because then we got plenty of good topics to talk about. So I'll swing it back to you a bit. Anything you gotta share
No,
before we jump into the juicy stuff that's going on here? Because my goodness, I mean, whether it's
right.
DC, what's going on, to what's
Oh,
going on now with the Game Awards, to
Disney, Disney,
Disney, I mean,
Disney. What's going
and
on? Right?
The Nintendo, Sony, Xbox
Yeah.
saga with Call of Duty. I mean, we got stuff today, guys. So stick with
I
us.
know, yeah, it's been a crazy week when it comes to that sort of news. Not much on my end, man. It's still going at it at God of War. It's still really really good. So not much to say there. I'm progressing, and I'll give you guys I guess a full scope sort of review when I make it to the end. I did watch something. I watched Disenchanted
Oh
because
yeah, I
Enchant.
got to see that.
Okay, yeah, Enchanted is it's
Yep.
one of my wife's favorite movies. It's definitely up there.
Mhm.
And I watched it. We actually watched the original Enchanted like the week before, and
Oh,
then
nice.
and
Yeah.
then we went and watched it. Like she watched it first. I think she watched it while we were recording one of the episodes. Like, because I think it
Okay.
came out on a Thursday and she watched it that same day,
Yeah.
or Friday or something, and we were recording and she watched it, and then over the weekend she watched it again with me. Like, hey, you want to watch the movie? And I was
Cool.
like, oh, sure, sure. Because I like it. Like that first movie, I think
Yeah.
it's really good. I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
movie is really good.
It's
Um,
very original.
yeah, yeah. So this one not as good. Continuing the trend of Disney quality not being up to par to what it used to be. Not as good, not as bad as a lot of people said it was. Like a lot of people kind of like trashed it. I was like, oh, it was not good. It was like, but it was entertaining, right? I have like a curious thing on this movie, and
Mm.
it's something that I don't know if it's the nature of the movie, the director, or what the I guess the artistic choice for it was, but a lot of people looking at the camera in this movie. I don't know if you
Mm.
noticed that. A
I didn't
lot.
notice it, but if
Oh yeah.
I was watching it very casually, to be fair.
Okay. It's like mostly on the singing parts. Like they sing to the camera. It's like, bro, do your thing. Don't like I get it, right? That to me was very distracting. I don't know. I don't know
You
why.
know, it's a different director though
It
than the
is. Yeah.
first movie, so
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is also a good point to why it could be very different in that regards.
Yeah. But otherwise entertaining. Like I chuckled a couple times. It was fun. Uh,
Yeah,
nothing is not. I'm not blown away by it, but it's not as bad as people say it was. Because like a lot of people were like trashing it. It's like it's fine. Whatever. It's
yeah,
it's
I
streaming
agree.
quality. That's to me, bro. Like you go back like watching the first one, right? And those like hand animated sections, you can tell the budget or the animators were not there.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
can tell that this was on a Bob Chapek budget. Um, 'Cause, I mean, it was greenlit it was greenlit back when Iger was around, but I guess it was uh, this was uh, production happened during the pandemic, right? If I'm not wrong. So
Right.
yeah, but
It,
yeah,
yeah, I thought it was all right.
yeah,
I I I would though wonder had it gotten the treatment that Strange Worlds got, where I'm assuming that had probably a bigger budget for an animated thing,
uh,
had it done better because I've heard people say that it should have been switched, or Strange Worlds should have
yes,
been on Disney Plus, and
I
Disenchanted deserved to be in the movies
a
for
million
Thanksgiving.
percent agree. Yeah,
And I almost wonder like those are more like the suits level decisions that
that got
that
Bob
affect
Chapek
the
fired.
overall. Right,
That's the
exactly,
sort of
exactly.
decisions that gets a man
That's the kind of
fired, right?
decisions that gets the top person out of that seat because like if it makes sense to us, how come they don't look at
Right,
it that way?
right.
You're not, and it's funny because like so much of the animated movies, there have been so much slack being given to Disney for
Yeah.
not releasing their animated movies in theaters, right? Like people were mad about Onward and Turning Red and all these other
So
different ones,
yeah,
Soul
I think
and all
Soul
these different
had
things going
like a limited release or something. I don't
limited
remember.
release,
Yeah,
right? Which, to be fair, all the ones I just named to you, like I think are like probably I wouldn't. I'm gonna call them mediocre. Like they're not like a disaster, like but they're not like to the standard that I'm used to with Disney animation.
yeah. Gotta step it
But
up.
I will say, but that's a whole nother argument. But I will say, like of all the ones that they put in theaters, it sounds like Strange Worlds was not the one that should have gone to theaters. Like that probably would have done better at home.
Yeah, I
And
think that.
Disenchanted probably would have done good,
Yeah,
maybe,
this was
if
the
it had that
movie.
budget and respected for theaters.
It had even have a better marketing campaign than
Yeah.
Strange World. Strange World. I just saw a couple of trailers on YouTube. That's it. That's it. I didn't see anything on
And it
TV.
didn't really
Nothing.
make any sense.
No,
The movie doesn't make much sense from the
it's
trailers.
like what are you doing, right? And that this was yeah. This should have been flipped for sure.
Which you can do that with like Avatar: The Way of Water. You can't do that with an animated Strange Worlds. Like you can't, and even the Way of Water trailer to me makes sense. Like there's things that are going on there that I'm starting to put things together. By the way, Obed, I got my tickets locked in for that. So when
It's
we
like
come back in the New
every
Year's,
time
we'll talk about it.
every time I hear Way of Water, it's like this. What's the third one gonna be called? Big Water, and then the fourth one, Ocean Water.
Big water, ocean water. Well, I
Oh
heard
man.
someone say like I guess originally like people thought I think it was I think it's supposed to be like six movies. Am I right? Like some crazy. Obviously
I
depends on
was reading today
finances.
like the fifth one was supposed to be back on Earth.
That's ridiculous. But like some people have said like okay maybe this is like the five elements like fire, wind, water, like you know what I mean? Like each represent like different elements of
Oh
but
yeah.
but I don't think that's what he's doing.
I
But
don't think that's the case.
it just doesn't make
I think
sense.
that was trolling from there was some, because there was an article right that I
Yeah.
guess when Dave Filoni was working at Nickelodeon and he was working on The Last Airbender on Avatar, The
Oh,
Last
okay.
Airbender, the show was called Avatar, and then they got a letter saying, "Hey, so James Cameron actually like trademarked this first, so we gotta add like a subtitle." So and then they
Hmm.
changed it to The Last Airbender,
Right.
um
But did
and
you hear about him making updates potentially to Animal Kingdom, the ride, the Flight of Passage that he wants to
that would
change
be
the
great.
movie
Yeah,
update for
yeah,
the yeah.
because you can do
Like
just
that's
upgrade.
awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Um,
And apparently Iger's on board with it. He's already talked to James about it, so
oh yeah, yeah, it would make sense. Like I mean, they've been updating Star Tours with like a lot of
right.
like
I
the
love
newer
that.
stuff, and yeah, yeah, and that's totally fine by me. Yeah, absolutely. You know, as long as you can keep your rights relevant with hoping for like the least amount of I guess expenditures. Yeah, sure, why not? So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, there's there's stuff happening, and we'll talk. You know what? That was probably a good time to do a segue. So there's rumors that um Christine McCarthy would be like the next in line for CEO at Disney. I think that's an awful idea, if you ask me, sir. We're gonna go back to a numbers person. Um, and people say, "Oh, she's been with the company for 35 years." It's like, so was Bob, right? Bob was there since like 1989 or 90. So, you know, I think that Disney's the kind of company that would benefit from someone creative on the creative side or the studio side to be on top. I don't think a numbers person is necessarily the right choice. Again, right? People started like this YouTube channel started talking about FTX and she knows where the bodies are buried and all this. I don't think so. I just think that this is just a rumor. I don't think that this is probably happening, if you ask me. I don't think that the board will want to deal with what they had to deal with the last 2 years with like angry fans and backlash and all this stuff. I don't think they want to deal with that, right? And I think that this time they're probably gonna leave um, the reins to someone on the either creative end or someone in this with studio experience. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that's there right now. They could potentially bring someone in. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
it's interesting. But what do you think?
yeah, I'm with you on board. My first thing to you when I heard about this is I was like, no offense, but like on paper, it sounds like okay, great, another finance person, like somebody who's just looking at things from the finances and the numbers, and like that can be worrisome because that's the reason why they called him Bob Paycheck because everything the way things came across, the message that was being sent to people was money, and then you didn't see quality backing it up, so therefore the money seemed to take precedent. And don't get me wrong, it's a business, right? Like any business has to be profitable. So I'm not coming against trying to make money, but you lose the sense of genuineness in the product. You make the product lose value, then therefore you can't raise the valuation when you drop the value of the product. This is just some economic understanding, and this is what got him tossed from the job for sure, like because he didn't understand that or refused to wake up to what was the reality in front of him or whatever was going on there. But with Christine, her being around as long as she has, I've heard some of the concerns being about also like her age. Like she's like at the same age as like when Bob announced that he was gonna retire. It's like, you want this person to be the CEO now? Like, that was like 6 years ago, like when
She's
Bob was saying he
63.
was gonna go out. So it's like not that she can't do this for some time, but it's like also, there's a sense of concern around longevity. And I'm not concerned about that standpoint. I don't think that should be the reason to hold people up. But you bring up a good point, Obed, when you say, like this is probably not the decision they're going to make. I think that it's not necessarily the decision that they're ready to make. It just proves to us the point that and what we've been saying on the podcast that like it's important to remember Iger is temporary.
Yeah,
Like him coming back because people got so excited, like Iger's back, Iger's back. It's
yeah,
like he's not back forever, guys. This man still wants to retire. There's
yeah.
no way you're gonna have him here more than 5 years.
I think
I
what's
think we'll talk in what 2026, 2020,
probably late
7,
next year. Maybe we'll
and
probably have an idea.
it'll be phased.
Yeah,
But this means that she's on the table. Like they're already discussing options for her name to be floating out there. She's got to be in the discussions. It just that doesn't mean that it's oh guys, this is the next one.
yeah.
But it's good that they're taking the time to think
I,
about it. I mean, I think it's more likely that Apple buys Disney than her become the CEO. But that's just
I
my
agree.
thinking. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree with that. I think that could it be possible, Jill, that there's someone in in the board like throwing things out there to see how people feel about it.
it'd be
Like,
smart. That's great
it's like,
PR.
hey, how do you feel
Test the
about this?
waters.
No, how do you feel about this guy? No, how do you feel about this guy? Yeah, that's okay.
And there's no damage because it's not
Yeah,
an official thing. It's an
exactly.
unofficial like rumor mill
Yeah,
report from reputable places, but
yeah.
it's not like Disney come out and saying like, look out for Christine.
We got looks like Horizon DLC getting announced for Forbidden West.
Yep, I'm seeing that right now.
So it's gonna be interesting. It's on the breaking news end right now. That game was good. I actually wanted to go back to that game. I may actually go back to that game when I finish God of War because there was places that I wanted to go that I think I never made it to, and after unlocking like the big like fast travel thing, and probably gather some. Oh yeah, look, going to L.A. the Burning Shores
Wow.
or Burning Shores. Yeah,
We see the big Hollywood sign.
yeah, nice.
Whoa.
All right, cool. Yep,
He's coming out of the sign.
419. All right. Oh, man, like March already stacked. Like the first 6 months of next year is gonna be stacked, dude.
Well, this is just DLC, so it shouldn't be too
Yeah,
time consuming.
yeah. Last DLC was like 20 hours long.
Oh
Like the
wow, jeez.
like the I mean at least I played it for a long time. Like the Frozen Wilds, yeah. For
Get your money's worth.
oh yeah, man. Yeah, I mean they did say that the God of War's not having DLC, but we'll see. But yeah, it would be wise for the board to actually like fish out there and see how people feel before actually making a decision. Hey, Pedro Pascal's there. Or I guess
Yeah.
The Last of Us is getting announced. So or making a trailer, a new trailer.
Yep,
Have you
it's
did you
it.
watch that last trailer? I don't see it
I
on the
did.
notes, but yeah, that looked good,
Yeah, I
bro.
did. Yeah.
That looked really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Troy
I'm
Baker, you got the
excited.
whole lineup right now on stage.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I think it would be a wise choice for the board to test the waters with like put names out there and see how people feel, right? Because they want to avoid what happened with Bob, and they gotta get the right person. Most importantly, right? Regardless
Yeah.
of how people feel, you gotta get the right person. Bob when Bob was selected, right? Unfortunately, he wasn't the right person. Um, and it might. I just think that he. I don't know what happened, right? When he left from consumer products to parks, and how he became like a contender. Like I don't know, I of course that's not public information, right? We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It,
He
it
probably
would,
was a good charmer. I gotta, he must have really
yeah,
sold them
well,
well on his
yeah.
words.
And the thing is that when on consumer products, like he was good, right? Because he kept everything in line and everything was all well machine and it worked, right? When he jumped to parks, that's when we saw like price increases and all this other stuff and Genie Plus and like that's all like stuff that he came up with that you know he had to go through Iger, of course, to get approval. But to me, it seems to me that the way that Iger ran the company for the later part of his time there, since the Lucasfilm acquisition, right? No, I want to say since Marvel, right? I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Like since Marvel, he seemed to have given control to the individual heads of departments to
Mm.
run their department, right? And Chapek on the other hand, it was like everything had to go through him, right? So maybe Chapek came up with this ideas to implement these things at the parks, and Iger was like, okay, well, I mean, you're the boss of that division. You do whatever you think you need to do. So I don't know. It's I'm it's a little frustrating
Yeah, it's
because
bizarre.
it's uncertain, and I would definitely like to know the whole story. I know that we probably won't, but yeah, I mean, I don't think she's the right choice at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
yeah,
If she is the choice, we will support her and we hope for the
of
best.
course,
But right
absolutely,
now,
absolutely,
impressions are not the type of news we'd want.
yeah, yeah. So before we jump into the madness of game news, Joe, it is time for our segment, the triumphant return of DC. What are you doing? What is happening in the world of DC, Joe?
So it's a lot of stuff going on. The short story is at the moment, according to the Hollywood Reporter, uh, right now we are seeing that both James Gunn and Safran they are in this final stages of putting together their multi-year plan, their lineup for the future of DC. And they are working on putting this together right now for next week to make a presentation before Zaslav. So as we're leading up to this pivotal meeting that he's going to be these two are going to be having as a DC film studio heads with Zaslav, there's going to be some leaks coming out, and we've gotten already a couple of them. The first one that was pretty big was, Wonder Woman 3 has been canceled. That project is no longer in development at the moment. It's interesting. Right after Gal Gadot teased, "Hey, some future updates are going to be coming." She must have known. She must have known that something else is coming,
Yeah.
and it's probably damage control to be able to say, "Hey, like I'm still around." And according to reports, she's still in. Fully in with whatever they're doing. She's in their plans. They want her to still be Wonder Woman. So that's important to note. So that's how you know that it wasn't, oh, we just want to wipe away this character, or we want to wipe away this iteration of the character. Really, they just wanted to change creative decisions. And according to reports, Obed, it sounds like they actually gave Patty an opportunity to redo her script or walk away from the project. She chose to walk away from it and not come up with a new idea, which is interesting, and that's totally fair. Like everyone should have that opportunity to say, "Hey, we want something different," or this is not what we're looking for, and walk away. That's the right way to handle a studio. This is the things we've been waiting for DC to be doing. To
Maybe
take this
her
this is what they should have done with Flash. This is what they should have done with these other projects, where they say like either change it, or this is not the person we need to have in the role.
maybe the script was like a dog touched something and Steve Trevor went into the dog and now he's hey Steve, you out of
Or
dog.
or Make a Wish Man is back, and I
Make a wish.
wish that Wonder Woman never
Mm,
existed. I don't know, some crazy. It was
yeah,
very bizarre.
it's
Love Pedro, but that was weird.
yep.
I will say though, like this is I think this should be a positive. And if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you should be. I think at least you should be happy by this, because like we've said, Wonder Woman 2, had a lot of issues around the story, and as we know, Snyder wrote the story for the first movie, but the second one that was all fully Patty, and so we saw there was a little bit of
Yeah.
issues there on completing a full story. So if anything, sounds like we'll get. Doesn't mean that there will never be a Wonder
It's
Woman 3. It just means
yeah.
what was there is canceled. Maybe they'll try again in the future, or they'll just move her into clearly other projects. Apparently, she's in upcoming things, so I would not be shocked if she's in Shazam, or she's in Aquaman,
Yeah.
or she's in something else that they're working on.
Interesting how like making what was overall disappointment, right? Because one thing is, hey, the movie was not that good, but it did well in the movie theater.
Yeah,
But it's like, hey, the movie didn't go to the theaters, like in the case of 1984. But the movie was great, right? There's that, but then you have like the I guess the unique situation that this movie was in, where it didn't go to theaters. It was HBO Max, and then the movie was just not good. So, um, and the ramifications of that, right? Because now we're getting this canceled, and then I mean, the rumor for the last few months is that the Rogue Squadron or whatever she was working on with Lucasfilm's done. Like this not happening. So yeah,
yeah, which there's that this is the kind of stuff that we see could tend to be trends, right? I mean, do you remember the Josh Trank stuff that after he
yeah.
had his failures with the Fantastic Four stick that was absolutely terrible, they took him out of what was supposed to be, to my understanding, I think the Boba Fett film.
Yeah,
That he was like, you have issues with one thing, um, evaluate in the moment. Don't take always, those projects that maybe there's more to it. But if you're looking at your own project, you have to protect your property. It sounds like they're protecting it. I hope for the best, right? Now the next thing that's going on there now is in the lineup of stuff, Obed. It sounds like the Snyderverse, the continuity of Jason Momoa was Aquaman and Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill Superman. That's all stuff that's still very much up in the air, very fluid right now. It sounds like they're really trying to go for more of a reset or more of a retool. I say that to say that this seems like the same actors may be around. In the case of Momoa, it sounds like there's a very strong possibility he'll be switching from playing Aquaman to instead playing Lobo. And that just came out recently. That's interesting. And
Okay.
then Cavill could
What?
maybe still be Superman.
What?
But Ben
So
Affleck will not be Batman,
I mean,
and they
you,
canceled the Michael Keaton Batman project. Apparently, that was in the works too. So there's a lot of shuffling going on
Flash
with
got
things that
moved
are
up, right? Like a month or something.
a
Yeah,
week.
a week. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, it's like I can see the Jason Momoa move, right? Because at the end of the day, like, right, we got makeup to compensate for it, but it's so dumb.
it's
So
it's very
dumb.
strange,
What?
and like Lobos
He's
feels like
already
the
well
kind of character
liked.
that James Gunn would like push forward,
Yeah, but
and
no
I
one
don't mean
cares
that in a
about
mean
Lobo.
way.
No one
That's
cares.
what I'm. That's
Joe,
exactly
no
what I
one
was
cares about
say.
Lobo. Let's be honest.
I agree, but remember, this is the guy who took Guardians of the Galaxy and made them have now they're a name that you can actually have a theme park ride at Epcot, right? Like he's
Yeah.
the kind of person that he would purposely pick obscure like that and try and throw them out first before he touched the legacy guys. Am I saying I agree with that? No, I'm with you. Nobody wants this. This is not the character you go putting out early. But so I completely agree. But I'm saying this is totally smells of gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. I I
No,
don't
I'm with
know.
you. I'm not very,
We're
I do
gonna
not have a
get
vote of confidence right now.
we're gonna get this crazy deep cut characters now.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it works for him, right? That this is like hot on the trails that Marvel like I guess there was a meeting sometime this week or this past week, and they all voiced their concerns about Phase Four and how they did how disappointed they were. I think that Phase Four it was very strange because it started with Black Widow, right, which was just okay to me. It was enjoyable,
Yeah. I liked it.
but then you got Chang-Chi, which was great. and then
Fantastic.
and then it followed up with Spidey, right? Spidey came out after that,
Fantastic.
a phenomenal. Doctor Strange, we can agree to disagree on that.
Yeah.
I think it was better than average. I liked it better than the first one,
Mm.
but it didn't set the fandom on fire. I think that's the movie. If that movie would have delivered on the expectation, I think that
Oh
meeting
yeah.
wouldn't have happened if it would have
It
delivered on
was
the
it was too
expectation.
divisive.
Yeah,
You had to pick
yeah,
a side on it.
yep. And then Thor. I the more I think about it, the less I like it. Um, Black Panther and then She Hulk. Right? I was like, we got like She Hulk too.
Well, Wakanda Forever is good.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
But you
yeah,
can't
yeah.
you have to go through Love
She
and
Hulk.
Thunder and She-Hulk
Yeah.
and this stuff and
Moon Knight was good.
Miss
I
Marvel's
enjoyed it.
fine.
Yeah, I
Moon
enjoyed.
Moon
Yeah.
but the fact that Moon Knight's like you have to like dig in there to think about it, it didn't set the world on fire, man.
No, no, no. Moon Knight is like Lobo. No one cares about him, but
Thank you.
it was still good. Like it was still enjoyable,
But do
right?
you really want more?
I'm good.
Like it's like okay, thanks, but like you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I mean, when is he gonna show up in a movie? That's the thing, right? Um.
I would rather him show up in a movie before another show, to be fair.
Oh, totally, totally. I agree. So they're getting ready to show a clip of the Mario movie, which unfortunately don't have audio for, and I will not play audio of said content on this podcast. So I guess I'll watch it on mute and then I'll watch it later. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's very strange what's going on with Marvel and how the I think that uh, babe, maybe Feige was trying to run Marvel like Iger ran Disney when he was around. It was like, oh no, yeah. So that's your project. You do it, right?
That's what they
And
said. He was less involved.
and then She-Hulk happened, and then it's like, oh, we gotta have this meeting now.
So did I tell you I saw the making of the assembled for She-Hulk?
Oh, okay.
Okay, the moment that I literally, like I said, all right, I'm done, was when one of the directors for the episode with Daredevil and She-Hulk, she admits that she goes, working with this character Daredevil, Matt had Charlie had to remind me that his character is blind because he was doing such a good job. I forgot that the Daredevil's blind, and I'm going timeout.
That's his
There's no
character.
way that this lady is directing the Daredevil's first time back in the MCU cinema. I mean, obviously we saw, the
Wow.
the lawyer version, right?
Yeah.
And Spidey, but like full suit Daredevil.
Yeah.
And she don't know that he's blind. Like that's his whole
Yeah.
that's his whole
So
thing.
so we go back
Insane,
to
dude.
not qualified people doing work at Disney. Like that seems to be a recurring topic, right? It's like these people get projects at Disney that they're not qualified to do. And
I can't imagine being given a job to work on a character. That's like working on the Hulk and like forgetting that that he's also Bruce Banner. Like, like it's crazy. Like, how do you work on these things and not
yeah,
fundamentally understand these characters and given literally a budget? This is where the problems lie.
it,
And I can't
yeah.
believe that the editors left that footage in the thing. I was like, this is so
That's
embarrassing.
well,
I know working from
that's
a
good.
marketing and creative standpoint, I would have said, I'm cutting that out of there to not make them look bad, but they probably didn't care. They probably were like, you know what? Forget it. We're putting this in there.
Yeah.
But
No, I
wow.
mean, I'm gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything.
It's bad. It's
I'm
bad.
not gonna say anything. But it goes to that, right? It's like you have to have qualified people work on your projects, and not only your projects is like and everything, right? You gotta have people who understand the theme park industry to be able to run the theme parks. It's like
Right.
right. It's like you need a rocket scientist to build a rocket, right? You don't call Jim the corner mechanic that you take your car to for your oil change, right?
Right.
That's what it is. Jim's a great guy. Don't get me wrong,
No, he's a great
but
dude.
he's not
That's not his
qualified to
that's
build
not
a
his thing.
rocket. Right. That's the thing. That it seems to be a recurring thing that I've watched and prevalent in the last couple of years more than before, right?
Yeah.
So we're hoping that ship comes around, but we shall see. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we will be back with a ton of gaming stuff and drama.
More to come. Stay tuned.
And we are back. Joel, how would you like Call of Duty on the Switch?
I just can't imagine it working on the Switch, but if it did, I think that could be cool.
Okay. So, with all the drama that's been going on between Sony and Microsoft and the Activision acquisition, so I guess Phil Spencer announced that they are getting in a 10-year commitment with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to the Switch. This actually means two things to me, right? And we talked about it briefly. The reason that they haven't announced like something like this with Sony is probably because Sony has some sort of existing marketing deal with Activision that's getting thrown out basically, and that's probably part of what they want to keep. So I don't know what the back and forth between Sony and Microsoft is at this time. But it seems like Microsoft is willing to bring the content. It's just that something else is holding Sony back from 100% going in to what they're offering. That's number one. Number two, there has to be a more powerful Switch coming, dude. Like there has to be, like,
Yeah.
full stop. There has to be a Switch that can run Call of Duty proper. And again, I still stand by the Zelda date that it's gonna come out on the same date as Zelda. I'm still like on it, right?
He wears his Zelda shirt.
As I wear my Zelda shirt, when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, we'll get a new Switch. If the game gets delayed from that May date that they announced, they probably release it in May, and still, like, they probably have that hardware ready. So, strangely enough, Joel, I don't know I've been to the stores like recently, and there's plenty of Switch out there. I even went to Target. Yeah, I even went to Target like a few days after Black Friday, and they had both Xboxes available.
Wow.
And then on the Switch end, they had, I think they have limited colors on the Lite, but they had the OLED, both the OLED and the regular ones with the Mario Kart available. So very interesting. There has to be another console, dude. Like there's no going around it. And Phil probably knows about it, and that's why he's talking, but he can't say anything else. But what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think you make a great point. I think it's important that the people understand that just because it doesn't make sense with the technology today doesn't mean that Nintendo's not smart enough to think about the future. And you know, they have what Nintendo's really good at is they're good at using the properties that they already have. Your Mario games, there's certain things you're gonna always have right on your Nintendo consoles, but they haven't really appealed to people that would be probably more fans of like in the COD community, that kind of style. By doing this, you're adding an extra layer of attention to your console from people that maybe would not have looked at it otherwise.
Yeah.
And you're clearly making moves for the future, and you're sending out a flag saying we got troops ready to rock. We're moving into 2023 clearly with plans. That's a huge financial agreement. You don't just make agreements like that because it's a nice to do.
Yeah.
And Microsoft wouldn't have just made that agreement if they didn't actually think that it's something that they could actually partner successfully on. Microsoft's really big on making strong partnership deals. We've seen that now over the last couple of years. They've been really looking to quickly get into business with other parties existing. And Nintendo is a great one to get with because obviously the fan base is stronger than ever right now. You can put COD on a new Switch. That's imagine like having that lined up with the launch, like you're talking, like having a Zelda game coming, having these other ones, but you throw that in there, and now you've got people saying, "Little Billy wants that one for Christmas."
Yeah, exactly.
Smart move.
Yeah, I mean the same day that, say for example, the new model comes out, you do the Modern Warfare 2, and or Warzone. It's like oh, the same day, just drop Warzone on the Switch, right? That's what you.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. But on the other end, um, today there was news that there was a rumor that the government was looking into the acquisition. This is kind of like a too big of a merger to go unnoticed, and it seems like the government is really paying attention now, because he got out that the FTC actually filed a lawsuit to halt the the acquisition. So uh, not much to add there. We'll see what comes out of that. That's gonna probably go into litigation and whatnot. So in the meantime, Activision's still gonna operate as Activision, and whatever decisions are being made by Phil Spencer are are probably gonna keep on being implemented, and until it's done, or at the end of the day, I think it's gonna get done. Right? It's it's an interesting one, right? Because it's when the original Xbox came out, right? I knew that Microsoft had the pockets um to truly be a contender in the space. Now that when I think they jumped in at the right time. Sega had just announced that they are, they were no longer doing the Dreamcast, and they were going to move on to be a third party, and Microsoft jumped into that space that Sega left, and actually was able to take advantage of it. So, um, but it's unfortunate that we had I don't want to say that the Xbox One was disastrous, but it kind of
No.
was, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we saw, and it feels like the like panic, right? It's like, oh, this was a disaster. Let's go ahead and buy our way out of this, and just buy everything that we can, so we can compete. And at the same time, it's like, what have you done? Like how, like Game Pass, right? Game Pass is a product, but what have you brought? What's the innovation, right? Like how have you changed uh yeah, you changed the market with Game Pass, right? But what have you done to move the medium forward? That's, to me, more important, a more important question than a service like Game Pass at the end of the day. As someone that doesn't subscribe to that was subscribed to Game Pass, and I think it's a great product, right? And I only have the regular, the base, the PS Plus, and the base Nintendo Online. Um, to me, that's more important at the end of the day. And now they bought all these studios. It's like, oh yeah, we're innovating now. It's like, yeah, not really you, right? The guys you bought, so you can innovate.
Right.
And you know, kind of irks me a little bit, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, well, you bought your way out. It's like it's like, are you familiar with El Chavo del Ocho, the Mexican comedy show from the 70s?
I have heard of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Chavo was poor, right? Every time he come up with a ball,
Yep.
it was like a crappy ball and whatnot. And then Kiko, the neighbor, he would go in and he would bring in like a nice looking ball. It's like, that's just like Microsoft. It's like yeah, you got the money to get a
Wow.
nice toy, right? But what are you doing with that toy that's different than what I'm doing right now?
Mm,
It's a great analogy, I think. So yeah,
wow. That's a good
it's
analogy. Yeah.
um, I don't know, man. It's weird. I mean, again, I think Game Pass is a great product, and they have every right to brag about it. To be honest, so um, I just hope that they just don't end up buying more stuff, and then this sort of like political game that they're playing back and forth with, Sony and Nintendo. I don't want this to become like the norm. And, like, it's kind of like it's already exhausting, in my opinion. So let's go and make games, right? Let's go and make games. It's like,
Yeah.
what game? It's like, oh, Your boy's back. Crash Bandicoot, now owned by
I've
Microsoft
seen it.
or Activision, I guess. Um, so
He just zip line down, and it's pretty cool.
yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, I want to see them. I want to see them innovate. I want to see them come up with new stuff and not. Yeah, you're giving me a great service here, but what's there that I can't play anywhere else? You know, what's something unique, and you can come up with like, oh, there's a bunch of indie games. Like, they're not for everyone. I
Yeah.
don't think. I think most again like handpicked, like the super giant games. They're on a different class of indie game, right? They're like, uh, they're they're an S tier game developer studio in a budget. So they're the Snickers bar, which is an S tier chocolate bar on a budget. That's super giant because everything they make is great. Um, but then yeah, man, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So um, so what is this, Joel? Is this like a crash kind of like
Looks like a
like
multiplayer.
multiplayer thing? Yeah.
Could be. Yeah,
It looks
that's
like a
for
battle
sure.
royale, like a crash battle royale,
Yeah,
sort of like a
which is
four
cool.
4v4. Yeah, it looks fun.
I'm into this. Yeah.
Yeah, exclusively on Game
You
Pass.
know, you know, Crash is my guy, so
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
fan.
yeah. This looks actually fun. So that's cool. Um, Joel, something that we totally forgot. Like two things, very important. So we forgot to acknowledge the passing of Kevin Conroy, unfortunately. And we also forgot to acknowledge the passing of Jason David Frank, aka Green Ranger, aka White Ranger, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So we want to make sure that we put it out there, and in the case of Kevin Conroy, I didn't know he was sick. I know that the last time that I saw him in an interview, he seemed frail, um, but I didn't think anything was wrong at the time. It was very private, so um, it's definitely a huge loss to the fandom and Batman and everything DC animated and games and all that, because it's he was definitely an icon. So he will be missed for sure. In the case of David Frank, of Jason David Frank, very very unfortunate situation there. You know, it's it's tough. It's if you've been in a relationship, it's tough, and things can get ugly pretty quick, right? And it's sometimes we're not ready to deal with those sort of I guess bursts of emotions that you would get from that. So yeah, very very unfortunate. So another huge loss, because I know that he was still very active in the community, going to cons and um, doing new stuff and shorts, and he was still very involved with his character. So um, definitely, our thoughts go out to their families, and yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge this because we totally forgot to do it last week. So
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I was saying in the case of especially Kevin Conroy, like I literally had just seen him at MegaCon in May, and I'm so glad I got to see him live before, because no one knew that what was going on. I'd seen him a couple of times seen at New York Comic Con, seen him at different places, and he was very, like you said, active, in the community and very active in his role. And the Suicide Squad game that's coming out, they're gonna have a tribute to him in there.
Yeah,
And there's a cool little trailer, clip that they put out with him, saying his lines. But definitely in hindsight now, I could see he probably knew something was going on in his health at the time when I saw him, because he took a large portion of his panel to talk about taking care of your well-being, and he was
uh,
saying how like he regretted, and how he had been sober for many years now, and how he had stopped smoking for many years, and like those things he was openly saying it taken many years from his life, and how he was really encouraging like the kids that were there and the people that grew up watching, like take care of themselves. And you could something like that now, like in hindsight, you're like, maybe he knew, like something was going on. And
Yeah.
but it's so awesome how much passion he had in the role. And like that he is the voice of my Batman. Like there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
going around it. There's many other people done really good jobs. Nothing against them, but that man is going to be a voice that I'll remember deeply in my ears for a long time,
No,
because
absolutely.
the Batman
Yeah.
animated series, that was my generation growing
Iconic.
up. That was
Yeah.
my jam, dude. Like that was my thing.
Yeah, mine too, man. I
And
remember I
and
remember the first time that I saw an episode, I was blown away. I was like, wow, this is incredible.
absolutely,
So good.
absolutely,
Yeah,
so good, so good.
I remember I remember it like it was yesterday, man. It was
Same.
somewhere in 1992, and I remember we were playing Street Fighter in one of our neighbors' house, and he happened to be watching it, and I never watched it before. I was like, oh, this is very good. Like this
Yeah,
new Batman show, right? Back then, because it had just
yeah,
come out.
yeah.
So
So good.
it's insane. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he's gonna be portraying the Batman, I guess, for the last time, right, in this game. And
Yeah.
as far as I
Now I
know,
gotta get it.
now you gotta get it, Joe. Now you
I
gotta,
gotta get
yeah.
it, bro.
Now you gotta support. Um,
I gotta support it.
yeah, it's. I'm not excited by this game. This is one of those wait and see. Like if it comes out and it's a 10,
Sure.
I'll get it, right? Even if it's like a nine and a
That's a
half, I'll think
no-brainer.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So it's announced, and there's a new like short trailer kind of tribute that they released for it as well. No gameplay. I'm still
Yeah.
concerned. So we shall see. So last bit of news that I have here, unless something else crazy happens at the Game Awards, other than get the Stranding 2 and all the other stuff that's happened. There's so two things. The Street Fighter 6 date was announced. It was announced today, so it was actually leaked yesterday because they actually updated the PlayStation Store with the info. So, but they made it official today. It comes out June 2nd of next year, and pre-orders I think are live, and there's a bunch of new characters that got shown today. It looks very good. So, very excited. I signed up for the beta. I think it's next week. So hopefully I get a code, can get a chance to check it out. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And then we had another leak early this week that Jedi Survivor, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. Um, it's coming out March 17th next year, week before Resident Evil 4 remake. So two big March games. Day one gets for me. And it looks great. You got mounts. You got looks like extensive customization for the lightsaber now. That's what they showed on the trailer today. Um, it seems that you have a companion with a blaster, and that's what those blasters are. Uh, on the pre-order stuff, like he never showed
It does. It
that.
does look like he has a blaster. Yeah.
Yeah, but and they never showed Cal using the blaster, but he had a companion with a blaster. It's like, well, maybe that's what that blaster on the pre-order bonus stuff is. So, but yeah, looks very good. Again, looks like
Yeah.
they're gonna they really are expanding on the mechanics on the first one, and yeah, I can't wait, can't wait. That's another one that I may pop in after finishing God of War until March,
Oh, replay it.
and replay
Yeah.
on PS5 because I haven't played it on PS5
Yeah.
after the update. So
That's very true.
I may do that. So, but yeah, man, what do you think of the trailer?
And I thought it was a cool trailer. I don't think they revealed too much at all. You get a better look at this survivor that clearly to me seems to be that he's gonna be a villain of some sorts. That's at least my assumption, because it sounds like he's saying like I was betrayed by my own people, and like
Mm,
I'm back with a vengeance. And it's like, who are your people? And I don't think you're coming against the Sith. I think because of the timeline here, it sounds like you might have been some Force sensitive Jedi or something along those lines. That's all theories.
Yeah.
Regardless, you and I have spoken before. We think Maul's in the game. We think some other things could be going on. So I like that we have time to speculate and think about it. But at the end of the day, as long as the game is really good, you throw those elements in there, just amps it up even more.
Yeah.
Good trailer. March 17th. March is gonna be loaded, man. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Got two awesome games coming out in March, and Mario coming out in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a ton of stuff happening. Then Zelda in May. So it's gonna be like those three, and then as I got those two. I got Zelda in May, Street Fighter in June, and then we're waiting for Final Fantasy 16 that they're gonna. I guess they're saying that it may get announced today what the release date is for that, and that's another one. I was thinking of grabbing the I guess remaster make kind of thing that coming out next week for Crisis Core, the PSP game, because it's weird because they're the way that IGN or and other also IGN hearts go out to the guys affected by the layoffs today. That's pretty crazy too, man. So the thing with lost my train of thought. IGN. So because that I guess that game, that Crisis Core game, is not a remaster, but it's not a remake. It's like kind of like in between. So it has enhanced mechanics, right, and enhanced combat, but the graphics are not a next gen remake quality. It's more of a step in between sort of thing. So, but I heard it's good. Like it's reviewing very well. So I was thinking of grabbing it. Yeah, but it's I can't go. It's like I would probably just play Jedi again. Honestly, yeah,
Yeah. That game was good.
yeah,
Good.
yeah, for sure. The game
Yeah.
was really good for sure.
Did you see Obed the new Bad Batch trailer?
I did, yeah.
That's good.
It's very good. Looks very
Yeah.
look, looks very good. That opening sequence at the beach, I was like, wow, this looks
Yeah.
really nice.
So
Like
vibrant and cinematic.
yeah, they really upped the budget on that, on the on the I guess graphics for that show. So
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
looks good. Yeah, again, a few announcements today. We'll probably have a full breakdown of the important things to us next week. And that is, I'm doing a quick scrub here, Joel, just in case nothing else came about that's important. Unless you can think of
So
anything else,
far.
bro. Yeah.
No, I
So
think we're good.
we're in good shape, sir. If you want to go ahead and wrap it up.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening to this podcast. We want to encourage you to stay subscribed. So if you're a podcast listener, find us on your podcast platform of choice, places like Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, all these good places, Google. You can find us. Go ahead and subscribe. That really helps us out. We also would ask if you'd write a review on these podcast platforms. Give us some stars. Tell other people why you enjoy our podcast. Oh, Ben, I do this out of the joyness of our hearts. We just enjoy doing this so much, and we're not asking you to send in money. We're asking you just to support us by hitting that subscribe, hitting the like button. You're writing those reviews. That really helps us out, and that carries over to our YouTube channel where we also are putting out these videos. We're broadcasting live these recordings to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel, like those videos, drop a comment. The support means a whole lot to us. Really much appreciated. We also invite you to follow us on social media at No Load Time, at No Load Time. Places like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Find us on these social media platforms. Give us a follow. We'd appreciate that. And also you can follow us on our Twitch account, No Load Time Altogether. We broadcast our episode recordings there, so you can follow along on Twitch. We really appreciate that. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can send an email to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. If you have a question or comment, maybe, just maybe, we'll even talk about what you send in on a future episode. So we really appreciate our community. Stick with us, and we've got a lot more to come. So we'll see you guys on our next episode.
Thank you guys. Stay safe. We'll see you again next time.